Performers Pod is presented by Blue Movie PR. Your brand is more than just content, it's an experience. At Blue Movie PR, adult entertainment talent is supported with public relations that respect both the art and the person behind it. Led by Jim Steele, Blue Movie PR builds compelling narratives that connect performers with new audiences and help solidify long-term legacy. With a boutique talent first oriented approach and tiered pricing designed to meet creators at every stage of their career, Blue Movie PR is focused on entirely building your success. Let's tell your story together. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Performers Pod. I'm Chelsea Poe. Today, my guest is Serafina Sky. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. I've wanted to have you on for a while now. I'm so glad we finally got to meet at Amsterdam Porn Film Festival last year. And yeah, I think
Hmm.
I just think you make
Yeah.
really cool content. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it. And yeah, so how did you like get into porn in the first place? Because I'm assuming you're from the States, right? But I know you from
Yes.
Amsterdam.
Yes, because I'm much more local to that side of things now.
Yeah.
I moved to Belgium 8 years ago
Mm-hmm.
and haven't really looked back since, to be honest.
The dream.
Um, but yeah, I started in 2020, like half of the rest of the world. And I just started with OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm.
I got infatuated by these YouTube videos of girls being like, I'm making so much money. And I thought that sounded great because I couldn't do my job anymore. So I jumped on the train and it proved to be excruciatingly difficult.
For sure.
Everyone was fucking starting then. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about anything. I had done some kinds forms of sex work before. Like I stripped when I still lived in the US for one summer.
Where are you from in the States, if you
Um,
don't mind me asking?
from the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. To be a little bit general.
I'm not gonna be like, I need your city, I need your zip code. No, no, no.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, so I started in, yeah, just with the OnlyFans stuff and was pretty quickly getting discouraged because it was so difficult. And then I just very fatefully found this post on Reddit from a Berlin company,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I don't know, it was like actually a very smart move. They were like just giving advice to content creators,
Mm-hmm.
but it was coming from this feminist branded company. And then they were also casting people. So if you like clicked on them, then they'd be like, hey, and if you're a content creator and want to work with us, then come over this way. And so I got in touch with them, and that was my first contact with an actual porn company, and things
Nice.
really unfolded from there.
So was the pandemic already starting when you did OnlyFans, or were you one of those like few people who was on it
No,
before
no, no,
COVID?
not at all. I wish. I feel like if you had a foot in before it all blew up, then I don't know, it was a bit of a step ahead. I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
you
there
can
was a
speak
girl
to
who's been
that.
on the podcast who was like, "Oh yeah, I was a stripper in the Midwest and then 2019 I saw the site OnlyFans and got in on that and just why
Mm-hmm.
not? It's just like crazy that any of these like individual platforms can't blow up into like the next big thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I was really just in the heart of it. I think November 2020 was when I um started.
Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm just in general like not I don't know. It was really a transition for me. And I'm
Yeah.
still kind of shocked that I have stuck with it because in the end, content creation is mostly a computer job. And
Yeah, it is like a
that's the
computer
part that I
job.
really dislike. Well, the other parts I enjoy.
Yeah, I think it's just like
Yeah.
so interesting how like I mean, you've been in porn for now like 6 years. Like that's like a veteran now in this industry. Like that all these people who got into it from COVID are now
That's
like
so
the
funny because I
industry
still feel
veterans,
such a newbie.
right?
Hmm.
Like that's how it is now.
Yeah,
And
it is
it's
wild when you hear, yeah,
he's like, I think the usual porn
like
or
that people.
oh, go on.
No, I feel like we're a bit out of sync.
Yeah, I think we're having a little
I don't
bit
know if that's just
of
Zoom reality.
issues. Yeah, with Zoom with us being 4,000 miles away from each other right now. I think it's gotten better. Your thing went from red to white, so I'm hoping that's good. Um, but yeah,
Okay, okay, cool.
it is really crazy that's like all these people did get in during OnlyFans, and now all these creators who are still around, you're actual veterans in the industry now and like have real serious industry experience. Like 5, 6 years is like a lot of time in porn.
Hmm. It's funny to hear that because I still feel um pretty on the outside of porn, I would say, but just mostly because I haven't worked uh, um for that many companies
Mm-hmm.
and I've done more like self-production than I have. Um, if I look back now on how long it's been, I'm like, damn. And I was also looking at my statistics on OnlyFans recently,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, the first 3 years that I had an OnlyFans, I did not break $1,000, like in each month.
Yeah.
And when I was doing that, like that was during when I was like the first, it was in the first few months, it was just really bad. I wasn't making any money. And then I started to work for these productions mostly in
Mm-hmm.
Berlin. And then so I was making my money from working with studios, but just like a select few. And it really took me 3 years of, yeah, continuing on the platform on OnlyFans to to make it into something that supports me. And
Mm.
I'm still quite amazed that it is working and that it continues to work. And now it's my main income,
It's amazing
um,
though.
which I just find crazy.
For real, especially
Because
when you
yeah, it just
first
started in my
start it.
bedroom, you know?
For sure, I totally feel the same way. Like I remember making like the first $20 from camming. Like when I was in my bedroom in
Hmm.
Michigan when I was 19, I was like, "Oh my God. I just like manifested $20 by showing my boobs in my bedroom. Like what the fuck?"
Yeah, yeah. It's wild. I mean, yeah, I think it's a pretty shared experience for a lot of sex workers that it just comes from our own volition and it's just this crazy idea that we try and then it works, yeah, or it doesn't or whatever happens happens, but it is pretty funny how it feels like it came from nothing. And then now
For
it's like
real.
my business and my company and I've been in the process of like starting a company, like kind of the equivalent of an LLC here in
Yeah.
Belgium.
Oh,
And I
you're in
find it
Belgium.
so funny. I'm in Belgium, yeah.
I don't know why I thought you were in the
Um,
Netherlands. I mean, I guess it's like both very
because
small
we met there, I
countries, but
guess.
still. Yeah, I guess so. I was like, "Oh, you're in Den Haag or something." I don't know why.
Well, I'm only like a few hours driving from Amsterdam, which is the crazy
Nice.
thing about like these tiny little countries over here.
I know. I honestly, yeah, I've been trying to move to Amsterdam for probably like 4 or 5 years now. So,
I was wondering, yeah, like
yeah.
what
So
is your
I'm d
relationship with Amsterdam?
so
Have you ever lived there?
no, I spent a lot of time there. So I'm Dutch American. The city I grew up in is named Holland in Michigan,
Hmm.
and it's all
Oh,
like Dutch
funny.
everything. We have the world's largest tulip festival. We have windmills. Everyone I grew up with was
What?
Dutch. So like in the United States, I thought that was the base level for the whole country. So like when I moved to California, I was like, "Oh, like where's your windmills and stuff?" And they're like, "What are you talking about?"
Excuse
So
me?
and it's like really conservative. So it's like, do you know like Betsy DeVos?
No.
She was like in Trump's like cabinet. It's like very, very conservative.
Oh,
So
okay.
like for me, Dutchness was like something I wanted nothing to do with. And then at my
Mm.
first porn screening in Amsterdam, I was like, "What the fuck?"
So you
And
went there for the first time for the film festival.
no, I had a screening there in 2017, 2018.
Mm,
And yeah, I had a screening tour and yeah, it blew my fucking mind where I'm like, this is all the stuff from my childhood, but also all the stuff I like sex work and weed
mm-hmm.
and like radical politics and stuff. So it was like broke my mind. But yeah, I've spent so much time there. Like I got engaged there. I shot like 4 or 5 movies there. I've been like
Awesome.
there kind of nonstop the last few years. So but eventually that's the goal. My partner's been like had like job interviews there. We've really
Mm-hmm.
tried to push moving there. So hopefully eventually. I don't know when, but
Well, that would be great. Yeah, I remember when I met you last year, I thought actually that you just lived in the Netherlands. And then I was
that's
like, oh,
that's
wait,
valid.
she's American also.
Yeah, I got that a few days ago. I was hanging out with some European porn people in America, and they're like, "You have a Dutch passport, right?" I'm like, "I wish so badly. I would do anything for that right now, but no,
Oh, you don't.
no."
That blows.
If the Dutch like royal family is listening to this podcast, please hook me up. Please. I have a Dutch
Your
flag
girl
in the
makes so much
background.
good porn for you guys.
I
Like,
literally will. I was saying that with there were a bunch of Dutch performers who got nominated for AVN this year. I'm like, if we all win, like they have to do something, right? I'm like, the government has to do something.
I mean, their whole international reputation is based on being this like open-minded country.
Exactly.
So they should, they should start living up to it
Yeah.
also domestically.
Yeah, just give me citizenship and it will show how open you are to the world. But yeah, what kind of brought you to Belgium? Was that like also sex work related or were you already in Europe and then it just kind of naturally happened?
No, it was, well, I was quite young. I was 19 when I left the US,
Mm,
and I just always was really craving to get out and see the rest of the world. So I went on a really big trip. I went traveling for 9 months, and with yeah, the money that I had saved up just from like working
where
a
did you
shitty
go?
cafe job. I went a lot of places, but I started in Southeast Asia,
Nice.
a very classic backpacking destination. But then also to Australia and to China. I took the Trans-Siberian, which is
Oh
like
my
this
God,
train
that's
that
so
goes
cool.
from China to Russia. So passed through Mongolia, across Siberia, and then through Europe. And I was just so mind blown that entire time because I'm from
For
like a
sure.
little small town and I really did not know much about the world. So it was very, very formative for me. And like leaving, I was just really certain that I didn't want to live in the US anymore.
Yeah.
So I found a university that I could afford and had an English program so I could get started right away. And it was in Belgium. So it was completely random that I ended up here. And I'm so grateful for it now because I have my whole life here. And it was all just based on this like harebrained 19-year-old decision to apply for this school.
That's so amazing though that you were able like to build your whole life there. And also like I feel like most Americans we just never consider the rest of the world and like the vastness of it, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I really feel like I didn't know much before I left
For real.
because like you don't, I mean, we had like a world history class and I think we just learned mostly about World War II and like some
Hmm.
ancient, Roman shit and like
And like
nothing
the World War
about
II
like
studies, like there was a war and then the US came in and then we saved the day at the end. Like
yeah, like not the fucking real story at
yeah,
all.
no.
So, I mean, I was very unprepared,
Hmm.
but I was also quite lucky, I would say. Um, because I was very young and traveling very
Hmm.
naively and um yeah, I was lucky through that whole trip and it really like encouraged me to keep like being in out in the world and discovering new things and yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same curiosity and desire for novelty and like discovery that I have loved traveling in the past and that I got into porn. I think that a lot of people in porn have this curiosity and adventurous spirit. Even if it doesn't look like traveling, there's something very adventurous about doing this kind of work.
For sure. I think it's like not only like I think most like people outside of it's like, oh, it's because you're sexual or you want to have these sexual explorations, which like part of that is true, I think, in porn, but it's also like this art form that does put you out there so much, you know? Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
when you do porn, it's a lot different than if you just like release an album or something. Because like people are obviously you're being vulnerable and you're putting yourself out there, but I think with porn it's such like a bigger thing because it like can translate across so many different cultures and all this stuff where you can have people who know your work or at least are consuming your work literally all around the world and it's just like kind of a normal thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And I've been surprised by my friends and colleagues that I've met and who aren't necessarily like caring that much about the sexual aspect, you know?
Hmm.
And that it's more like the fun of the like doing new things and meeting new people and traveling and making money and like all of these other aspects which can be part of it, which are really the appeal. Um, yeah, you know, like the you don't even have to like love sex that much to be happy doing porn.
For sure. Because I think like so much of it's so performative too and like I think it's on the other side too where like you can get very jaded about it and then it's just like oh this is porn performance and you kind of are whatever about it. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I've really had to like almost shift it to the opposite side where I'm like, I need to do things that are like challenging myself or hard, you know, to like kind of
Mm,
stay interested in it still. But also,
totally.
I've been in this industry for like 15 years, so I feel
Mm-hmm.
so incredibly old. As I'm like, you're a veteran, you've been in it for 6 years. I'm like, my first AVN awards was like when tattoos were normalized in porn, where they're like, it's okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're allowed.
Yeah.
But I you're like 32, is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I listened to that in one of the other podcast episodes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's weird because I feel incredibly old, but also incredibly young at the same time.
Exactly, like that's so young.
Yeah. But like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I've been around since there was like, yeah, the first like other award show I went to is called the Tranny Award. So it's like, that's
Oh
how
my
far
God.
society has come. Where like that was just the norm. And they're like, Chelsea, why are you being a bitch about this? I'm like,
Oh, that's
what the
so
fuck is
wild.
it really is. So, have you like do you really enjoy like the whole Berlin studio scene or do you like producing on your own more?
Well, I've gone through different phases in my
Hmm.
career so far. Like when I first found the studios in Berlin, I was incredibly inspired, incredibly excited. I felt like this movie star getting
Yeah.
flown over to Berlin and getting my hotel paid for and Ubers. I was like, what the fuck is my life? And so I was really stoked.
Hmm.
And I'm I mean I did I had a great time. Like I got to experience a lot of things like group sex and like
Yeah.
just fun wild scenarios that I think were fantasies for me or at least just like really exciting for me. And I did that for a couple years, but then, you know, there's always this like new talent bubble which
Yeah.
bursts. And I was very lucky that like right around that time where I pretty much stopped getting called by studios was when I decided to get serious about my OnlyFans.
Mm.
And that happened because I met a fellow performer, a good friend of mine, Kalita Fire. Maybe you know her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met her and I was so inspired by the way that she was doing her OnlyFans that I was just like, okay, I want to do that too.
Hmm.
And she welcomed me into like the Telegram groups and like the whole world of um yeah, like models doing shout for shout
Hmm.
and bundles and this kind of cross promotion that you can do on OnlyFans. And that was really the transition that allowed me to like, yeah, make enough money to just switch to content creation. But at the same time, it's, yeah, I mean, I would say like my heart is the most in porn, but my business is the most in content creation.
That totally makes sense. That's how I feel. I do camming. So I'm
Yeah,
like, that's money. Porn is like the passion, the artistic, all that stuff. So like I can
totally.
definitely feel you where you're like, this is what pays my bills. And then porn's like passion and like creativity sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, at the same time, I did also get a bit disillusioned with the porn scene
Hmm.
because I was working in pretty much exclusively like what I call ethical branded porn studios.
Yep.
And they were very nice to me and I really appreciated my time there. But it also became a bit exhausting to do a lot of like emotional management and sharing of my personality and like kind of this requirement of being passionate about working
Yeah.
that a lot of these studios have, while just getting one check and then never seeing anything else from it after that one day of work.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of hangups about quote unquote ethical porn.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm sure you've gotten this with interviews before when you are in quote unquote ethical porn, where the interviewer essentially wants you to be like, this is why this porn is good and this is why mainstream porn's bad. Have
Hmm.
you had kind of that same experience?
Yeah, yeah, I have like not so much, but it's difficult. It depends who's asking, I guess, because I would say the
Mm,
most of the interviews I've done have been in the context of porn,
yeah.
um, usually from those companies.
Mm.
And then there's kind of one answer to give, you know?
Yeah, the one that it's not written on paper what you have to say, but you know what you have to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I also like ethical porn companies love doing the post shoot interview too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are so awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, like I've had one where it was like literally the scene was like finishing and they immediately started rolling that and it's like it just feels very strange to be like in the middle of a porn scene like a threesome or something and then immediately they're like, "So what did that mean for you?" And
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, I'm still like low key coming right now, but you know, like,
I can totally talk and be legible, like no problem.
yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. It's a lot of emotional labor that
Mm-hmm.
they are asking of you. And I think that's the case also with like behind, BTS
Yeah,
and all of the interviews and all of this kind of extra work besides the actual porn, which you are being paid to do. And so I more have a problem with it when all of that extra work isn't being compensated.
for sure.
So like I've worked for some companies that are like very well paid and they're asking a lot of you, sexually, but also emotionally and intellectually as well
Yeah.
sometimes if it's like a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, if it's well compensated, then that feels good. And if it's not, then it starts to feel questionable if it's worth all of that exposure. Because
And it's
whenever
like,
you're like sharing yourself and your real ideas and your real feelings, like
mm-hmm,
you're exposing yourself. And for me, it feels a lot more vulnerable than having sex on camera, like
for
talking
sure.
about my real reactions and ideas is a lot more labor for me than it is just fucking, which is pretty easy and fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's like who is it ethical for? Where I feel like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's for the audience and not the performers, where
Mm-hmm.
the ethics are what are they really? Or I worked for this BDSM company before that their post-interview things were so kind of formulaic that performers really weren't allowed to be able to like talk about the things that maybe went wrong in the scene. Where
Mm.
it's just like, oh, this interview is just kind of an extension of like the scene, I guess, and like the roles in the scene is just like, I don't know. That's just not for me personally. And I feel like there's like this whole thing with ethical porn where I think it's great, the idea of it in the original, where it's like, oh wow, we can actually show bodies in an alternative way and try to make things ethical in a better place. But what are the actual conditions for performers and even like cast and crew?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Because those are the things that really count
Hmm.
is the working conditions. And you don't see that in the aesthetic. You don't see that in the interviews because that's all part of the job, you know? Like you can be really good at performing what looks like authentic pleasure, but that doesn't say anything about how ethical the company is. And I feel like this often really gets conflated, especially in mainstream media.
Hmm.
And there are some companies that really like push this narrative, you know, where it's like it looks classy, it looks respectable,
Yeah.
and so this is ethical. And this just doesn't make sense actually because ethicality is about working conditions. It's not about aesthetics or um yeah, you know, like surface level things. It's really about the nitty-gritty like contracts, payment,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, I'm literally in a lawsuit with an ethical porn company right now, so I'm like I can go on about this for hours, like ethics in porn.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that on your
yeah,
Insta. That looks
yeah,
fucking horrible.
yeah.
So
But
sorry.
like, I'm glad that the performers are being heard. There was some sort of justice already, so that's like the big thing for me that there were so many performers who were hurt that I wasn't aware of that are now feeling like their voice are heard, and I think that's like so important in porn that we as
Mm-hmm.
performers take the opportunity to stand up even when we don't feel like we could because like honestly until I spent all the time in the Netherlands I never thought that there was any legal process to deal with misconduct in our industry, but then when
Mm.
you hang out in the Netherlands and you're around sex workers who are running for parliament or running like different organizations and stuff where you're like, oh, I can do that, that's no big deal. um but I think that's also like in Belgium, they recently did decrim there, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, I think it's just so different than the United States. And I think so much of my time, both in Belgium and the Netherlands, just like really kind of changed my perspective on sex work activism. And I think in the United States, just for us even like to exist as porn performers or any other form of sex work, even legal sex work, it feels like we're so like criminalized and almost so afraid to, you know use the same systems that everyone else can use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a massive distrust of um government and yeah, legal systems, which
Hmm.
also makes sense because sex workers have historically been so um yeah, criminalized and not treated fairly by those structures. But I don't know. I guess definitely being in Belgium gives me so much hope for the possibility of change and the
For sure.
possibility of like, yeah, I don't know, like decrim, I think in other places it feels like a pipe dream.
Hmm.
And here it also feels like almost a fluke, to be
Yeah.
honest, because like it did like I mean, it's the result of like massive mobilization by sex workers in this
Yeah.
country and activism. But like the actual law that got passed, it got passed like in this kind of bunch of other laws,
Hmm.
a bit like snuck in there, you know?
Yeah, I was in Belgium when they passed I think it was like the paid sick leave for sex workers. I was there
Mm,
at the time. I'm like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is happening. I'm here right now. I think it just
mm-hmm,
like really changes what's possible because like it's not that hard to meet sex workers who are engaged in activism that have actually done stuff like that when you're in Europe. Where in the
Mm,
United States, it's like even for like strip club unionization or brothel unionization, it's like a national news story because it's so rare. You know what I mean?
mm. Yeah. I feel like I'm so ignorant about the US and
I
like
wish I
this.
was. I wish. I'm like, can you please help me also do that?
Come on over here,
Yeah.
girl. No, but it's weird because it's like my country. I'm literally from there.
Yeah.
But like I was listening to this podcast and I was like, wow, it's like such a different porn scene over there. I mean, there's also a lot of different porn scenes in Europe, and I'm in a very
Yeah.
specific one, but like I don't know, like all of the like conferences and like AVN and stuff
Yeah.
that you guys go to, I'm like, damn, this sounds like so um so fun and so different than what I've experienced. I kind of want to come.
Yeah, you should definitely go to AVN. I end up always leading Europeans around and being like, "Hey, you need to watch out for this." Um, like, do you know Anna Links? They're in the
Hmm.
Netherlands. Yeah, I've done AVN with the last 2 years with them, and last year I think was their first time in the States at all. And
Oh
just like being like,
wow.
oh yeah, like across from our hotel is like where you can shoot any gun you want. And they're like, oh, you need a license though, right? It's like, no, you just pay $40 and they hand you a gun. And they're like, how? Or we had this Norwegian journalist with us, and she thought she could walk the stretch of the Vegas Strip at night.
Mm.
And we're just like, oh
Hmm.
my God, don't do that. Never do that ever again. And there's like, oh, it's only like a 3 kilometer walk. It's like, no, you don't
Yeah.
do that here. But yeah,
What's
if
wrong
you
with
ever want to come,
walking?
I would love to yeah, show you the whole AVN experience. But I think like what's so cool about porn and what I've learned through this podcast is like every country's porn scene's so different, whether it's like Australia where like sex work is like way more accepted there, but porn isn't, or like
Mm.
in Japan, which had like the most rigid studio model until 2020, and now everyone's a content creator there and like everyone's
Mm.
making their own stuff, or like in Europe where like obviously it's still capitalist, but like you meet other people who are doing porn for more reasons than just money. And then I feel like you have the
Hmm.
American system that's like ultra capitalist. And then even within that, you have like LA that's like very old school studio where it's like 300 people are in porn and they all shoot in these like rented out mansions in Hollywood. And then you have like Vegas
Mm.
where everyone's a content creator and you just move there and everyone just shoots with each other and anyone can be a porn star that way, you know?
Hmm.
So I don't know. I find it like so interesting and um yeah, that's just like what I love doing, but I really do love like the vibe in the Netherlands and in Belgium and even France where it's like there's a lot of people making stuff, but it's not this like huge formalized industry. It's still I feel like very organic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends what side of it you're like in, because the film festival like bubble is
Yeah,
really unique. I
it's so
mean, it's
cool.
it's
I
so
love it.
cool and it's so like activist, you know,
Hmm.
which is really beautiful. And people are like making porn literally just because they love porn and they just love
Yeah.
discipline and they want to say things and express things and show things and prove things. And it's like very much like values driven.
Hmm.
And then, yeah, I mean, that's very different than I think most of the other people that are doing porn as a job.
For
And
sure.
like, I really love the film festival scene, but I've often also felt kind of on the outside of it because I like, even though I am passionate about porn, it's still always primarily been work for me.
Mm.
And so I can't really relate to like just making porn of like the porn that I want to see in the world as like my only motivation, you know?
Yeah.
And like I feel like I've always had to kind of strike this balance of like what is marketable and what do I still find interesting or still find nice to make. And
Hmm.
then I'm just like in this kind of position in the middle. And I do like I think in Berlin there's like a lot of I don't know, that's where I have felt the most community personally,
Hmm.
because I think there are a lot of people in that kind of middle zone that are like, yeah, really like doing porn as their job, but then also maybe occasionally doing more like passion projects. But some of the other festivals around Europe, which I find extremely cool, but are more like really just like it's just like activist porn. And I'm like, that's so
Yeah.
badass, but I don't have the energy really to make activist porn because I'm just making a lot of porn for work.
Yeah, I feel like I had specific movies that I released where I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good in a theater in Europe, but like people aren't gonna be masturbating to this really, like
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, for me, I was so burnt out on American porn at the time I went to Berlin the first time, and I was just like, oh my God, there's people who aren't gonna just be like an asshole and make it solely about capitalism.
Mm.
Like, made me be like, okay, there's
Mm-hmm.
like actual a medium here that people like respect. It's like the
Yeah.
bad thing about AVN is like so like I was nominated for best BDSM movie and I love BDSM as a category. Like it's probably like my favorite kind of porn. But when I'm like nominated and stuff and if I like lose to a movie, I never see the movie because like they don't have
Mm-hmm.
screenings or anything there. So I feel like there's this like weird level of competition where people like don't respect each other's work because you don't see it. Where
Mm.
like if you're in like something like Berlin, you're seeing everyone's work in like your program. So you might be like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
wow, I'm actually really inspired by this," or "Oh wow, they're making really cool stuff. I want to collaborate with them someday." And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
that's
like
the
I'm
thing
just
that's
happy to be
lost.
in a screening with these other great films and filmmakers.
Yeah, and I think that's like the disappointing part about AVN because you like it's like very high tension. So like you'll
Mm.
see girls have crash outs and like crying and like the whole scale of things. So
Oh.
I was there once, but like you have like this whole dichotomy of people being like, wow, I put all this work and it means nothing then if you don't win. And that's the thing I really think I took from Berlin and other European film festivals is like, oh, this is like a real medium and like we're all here for the medium. And I feel like that gets
Mm-hmm.
very lost at like these bigger, shinier, like American award shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I think in general, just having these kinds of public spaces for us does already like I don't know, it's cool to me that there are these award shows as well,
Yeah,
and that it's like there's someone recognizing like porn performers in like this public way
for
that's not
sure.
just like how many dudes on the internet, jacked off to this.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
yeah, I, so it's kind of like two different sides. I don't know. To me, like the awards show thing, it's a bit more like personality. Like, isn't it a bit more about the person that's like getting the award rather while like at a film festival it's more about the film and the product.
I guess it depends because there's like the individual award categories and then there's also like the best movie or like all the different
Okay.
categories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think I wish there was just more respect for the medium at like a thing like AVN. Like I wish they just were like, okay, we're just gonna have one room that's a theater or whatever. But then you also
Mm-hmm.
have like dudes jerking off and stuff. So then you have like casino staff having to deal with that. Like in actuality, like
Boner
I
police like
understand that, but like it is very strange. Like I say this to my partner. So like at the convention, and everything, and at the award show, it's like you're bringing all the best people in the world at having sex together, and then being like everyone has to keep their clothes on and no one can do anything, and we can't show any porn. And it's like, what is this? It's like some weird like prom sort of thing in high school where it's like no grinding, you know?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep room for Jesus.
Right? Um,
Yeah, okay, but then everyone's hotel rooms, something else is happening, I
Yeah,
guess.
so everyone else's so like at AVN, everyone's either on the convention floor like hustling like these men, or you're like at a hotel room and you're shooting the entire fucking week and people are doing like
Mm-hmm.
literally like 18 shoots in 5 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds
so
like I've been 3 times to XBiz Amsterdam.
yeah.
And I think, yeah, it's probably just like a smaller version of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I really want to go sometime to Expo Amsterdam. It's always on my birthday. And I'm like, I love my
Oh,
job and stuff, but like I think I need to have a
on my
little bit of
birthday.
space. I need to have a little bit of
Hmm.
space from that. Like I need like a day or two around my birthday to be like, okay, I don't have to be in work mode.
Totally, totally. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So when you got into the industry, were there like any performers or any like companies that really inspired you to get into the industry, or was it just kind of an organic thing where you're like, I was doing sex work with stripping, I'm gonna try OnlyFans? Was this like pretty transactional in that sort of way?
Um, hmm. I feel like I did not know much about porn before I started. Which I've also been surprised to hear is pretty common for
For real.
performers.
I
I feel
didn't
like
watch
people
porn
were
till I
either
was
obsessed.
18. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's like people are either like super fans or they like didn't ever watch porn and then they just started making it. And like I did watch porn sometimes, but I'm more of the second category. Like it wasn't really much of an interest. Like porn itself wasn't much of an interest. More like sexuality has always been a massive interest of mine. Um, so I think that I saw it more in that way, where I'm like, this is such a cool world that I want to find
hmm
out about. But um, now I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, like what sort of porn were you like consuming before you got in, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, I had not really like I didn't know shit about porn.
That's real.
Like I remember I remember listening to a lot of like audiobook and like reading a lot of um like written porn and enjoying that. But then like after I started, then I really started to like discover and find what I liked. And a
hmm
very inspiring person in the beginning and still now is Bex Ashley, Four
Oh, hell yeah.
Chambers. I was super mind blown by her work.
Yeah, their stuff's so
And
cool.
yeah.
Like,
And like a lot of people in the Berlin scene,
hmm
like Bishop Black and
Oh,
Kali
shit. He was literally,
Sutra.
we hung out 2 days ago, actually.
Oh, really? Are they
Yeah.
visiting the US?
Yeah, it was his first time in the States. Yeah, we hung out on my roof for like 2, 3 hours or something.
Oh,
Um,
so
yeah,
fun.
there's another friend. Do you know? Oh, you definitely know. You know Hunter Johnson, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he and I are actually from the same small town in Michigan.
that is so random.
Yeah, there's only 4 sex workers from our hometown, and we know all of them.
That's so
Yeah, it's
funny.
me, him. Did you see the movie Anora?
Hmm.
Yeah, the villain from Anora, the mean strip club girl, she went to my high school too.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
listened to a
and
podcast from her once.
oh yeah, she's really rad. She also like helped unionize a strip club in LA,
Fuck
and
yeah.
it's like I don't know. I have my hot takes on it because I'm like I've seen so many sex workers talk shit about projects she's been involved in. And
Mm,
I'm just like, we have someone who is literally on the picket lines helping unionize sex like strip clubs in LA like 3 years ago. And now you want to be
mm-hmm,
like, oh, well, I don't agree with that role. And it's like, we had someone literally on the Oscar stage who was like involved with sex work organization less
mm.
than 3 years ago. Like, I know I'm going to fight for my hometown and be like, oh, yeah, we were like in the school talent show together and shit. Like, obviously, I'm going to defend that. But like, also, like, that's not like an everyday thing. Like I think there's been a lot of people just being like, "Oh, well, I didn't like this movie for this reason or this reason or this reason." It's like that's valid and all,
Mm-hmm,
but like we have an actual sex worker who like unionized and literally was involved with like the fight that we're all talking about all the time, who's
mm-hmm.
literally in these like mainstream Hollywood things and on the Oscar stage. Like I don't know.
Let's
That's my
celebrate
little
that.
rant about it, you know?
Yeah. No, I'm all for like celebrating rather than nitpicking
Yeah.
when possible.
But so you were like really inspired by like a lot of the people in Berlin, like Bishop.
Mm-hmm. Polita Papel.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, like I was really like it was so fun actually because I remember I came home one summer and I'd started my OnlyFans and I
Hmm.
was like just beginning into this world and I was talking to my sister and she had just gotten like into all of these like alternative porn like sites and
Hmm.
knew all of these people and I was like, whoa, they're amazing. And I was getting my mind blown. I was getting so inspired. And then I went back to Europe that fall and I started to work more for these Berlin companies. And I
Hmm.
promptly just met like all of them. And I was like, wow, I was just like a fan like 3 months ago. And now I'm getting to work with you. Like, what is my life? This is
It's really funny how
spectacular.
that it happens in porn so fast. I feel
Yeah.
like that like the people you look up to become peers really
Mm-hmm.
fast. Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
Stoya was always one. And then I met her and she knew who I was and I was like, I can't handle this. I'm like, I can't handle it. You know my name. I literally like walked out the room. I'm like, I can't deal with this right now.
Too much to
Yeah.
comprehend.
But that's
Totally.
really amazing
Yeah.
that like shortly after you found like what you really could identify with work wise. I feel like you're very much fit into kind of that whole world. Like when I think about you as a performer, I definitely think of you as kind of like the Berlin adjacent creator
Thank
scene for
you.
sure.
Yeah, I think it's a really cool one and very inspiring. Like, I think, yeah, again, it's been this thing of like, after being immersed in that for a few years, I took my distance and now I haven't been going to Berlin that much.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a bit like it's always a bit double because I really miss that community and I also miss being part of projects that are like on a bigger scale.
Hmm.
And like that's kind of the thing that I'm sacrificing in order to have full agency over what I produce, you know? And I think like it would be amazing to be able to do some like bigger productions myself, but I'm not sure if I have the energy for it, to be honest. Like I would be
Yeah,
curious
that's
how you do it because you do direct yourself, right?
yeah, it's fucking like the biggest thing I did. Do you know like what public disgrace scenes are?
Well, I've seen the marketing of yours.
Yeah, that shit was so difficult. I feel like every project I do, whether it's literally shooting or whether it's like taking on this whole thing with this lawsuit, all these things I start, I'm like, there's no way I can do this. This is gonna be impossible. Am I
Mm,
gonna waste all this time? Is this all gonna be a waste of everything? And then at some point I have
mm-hmm.
to accept like, okay, if this is all a waste, it's worth it. And then I kind of like start powering through. But like the public disgrace took 14 months of production.
Wow.
So basically the thing I learned is just keep asking people shit. Just keep asking people who you think might help you with funding. Just don't shut up about
Mm.
your ideas. And that's kind of what I did with that whole project, where every single cam session I was doing, every single client I was talking to, I just wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. I'm like, so this is my dream. I want to make this happen. And just like really, I think being enthusiastic about what you're doing. I know
Mm-hmm.
that's not like an easy answer to be like how you do it, but like just really doing that and kind of giving yourself not like super strict deadlines where you're just
Mm.
like, eventually I'm going to do it. And also like not getting too caught up in the kind of technicalities or how hard things are, where it's just like,
Mm.
I'm going to eventually shoot this. I don't know what scale it's going to be, but I'm going to eventually shoot it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's always like kind of been my thing where I'm like, I'm gonna eventually get this done. I also come from like a DIY punk scene in Michigan.
Mm.
So that was always kind of my thing where I was like, I was a concert promoter for a while before where I'm like, I'm gonna do something with this, but I don't know what it is, and I'm not gonna know until the end. But I
Mm-hmm.
think just like really having the drive of if you're passionate about something, just keep pushing it, whether it takes 2 years or whatever else, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know if I have the drive.
It's fucking hard. I'm not gonna.
Like, that sounds really hard.
It is really hard, but like
I can just
eventually
use
when
my
it goes
little camera
out,
in my bedroom and just shoot with
you have an
myself. It's
iPhone though.
fine.
You have an iPhone. Yeah, I feel like you can always like, especially if you're excited about an idea, other people will get that vibe off of you.
Hmm.
So like I think just really trying to do that. And then also like accepting in the middle of it, it might start falling apart and then just kind of powering through. Like I had this whole like dinner party scene planned and we had like 20 people, but I live
Wow.
in California, so it rained that day. So 12 people canceled the day up.
Get out.
Yeah, so I
What
was
are they
like,
made of
oh my
sugar?
God. I was like literally doing my hair in my bedroom, getting ready for the shoot. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But then it all worked out. It was smaller, but nobody else knows,
Eight
you
people
know?
still a good dinner party.
Yeah. So, like, I think there's so much about that. There's also this documentary I really like. Do you remember the TV show Everyone Loves Raymond in the United States in like the 2000s?
Hmm.
So, there's this documentary about them bringing that show to Russia. And it's like the creator of it, and he goes to Russia and like it's a fucking train wreck. Like nobody understands the concept of it. They're like, this doesn't work in Russia. Like we don't have this kind of show. So it's like him arguing with people the whole time and like basically giving up through the middle of it, being like, "Ugh, fucking, I guess I'm gonna have to come back to Russia and do this whole thing again." And the end of the documentary is him being like hopeless, being like, this isn't gonna happen. Like the show's not gonna happen. And then like the ending credits is like, actually, this is the longest running Russian sitcom of all time.
What?
And that really helped me like materialize be like, wait, you can have production that's a complete fucking train wreck. That's so stressful. That's awful. But the audience isn't gonna fucking know. They have no
Hmm.
idea. So like just kind of embracing that like the hard, crazy stuff is just like kind of part of it sometimes
Hmm.
like was really like inspiring to me. Not that I give a shit about Everyone Loves Raymond, obviously, but it was just like a documentary I watched on some flight, and I was like, damn, that's true though with like film production or like whatever creative
Perseverance.
stuff. That it's just yeah, you never know what's gonna actually be the outcome in the end. And yeah, most people don't know all the trauma you're dealing with to finish any of these projects.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's impressive to like just self-produce large scale stuff. Um, I find it a lot just to do custom videos of myself.
I mean, even those customs, those can be annoying because like people have like 8-page scripts and you're like
Absolutely.
they're
Sometimes
like
it's
paying
like
you
a feature film.
$150 and I'm like, I'll work in these themes, but I'm not reading a script for you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, depends how specific they want it. Like
Yeah.
how much we charge it.
But like if you have something you're really passionate about and like you really want to try, you should always go for it. Like the worst case scenario is like it will just be smaller and then you just shoot on your own, you know?
Yeah. I think honestly, my ideal is to more do collaborations with like producers and directors.
Hmm.
And that's been popping up more where people like really like small scale directors will just want to do like a collab trade for the content, which has its like questionable aspects because sometimes
It's
it feels like,
interesting.
wow, you are literally just getting free content. Um, but I'm also getting free content. So it depends
Yeah, it's
on
hard.
where you're both
It's
at.
I feel you. Like sometimes I'll have like that where there's a thing in the States that's starting to become a thing more where a studio will pay you a lower rate but you still get the content. So it'll be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, it's a girl scene and you get paid $200, but they get the content and you get $200."
Hmm.
So it's like I guess
This I
that's good.
find the one of the best things. Like not that low, that's quite low.
Yeah, I
That's more
mean
like, okay, I got there to the shoots with that amount of money and like got all my shit paid for.
basically. So it's like I
But
don't know.
still, like having ownership over the content that you make is super important to me. And that's kind of
Is
the thing that has now yeah, I mean, you know this. This is like
Yeah.
your whole thing recently. Um, but yeah, it's like something that really honestly disturbs me about working for studios because I just saw how like I could be, you know, working, making a lot of films for a studio, like getting big on their
hmm
site and then never seeing another euro. And that can just go on until you are done and you don't want to work anymore. And
hmm
then you never see any more money. And I find that deeply unfair.
It really is. Like, I mean, I feel like this is like such a larger thing, not only in porn, but like across all mediums of creativity. Like, there's artists, like musicians fighting for their own rights of their work. There's, in film, it's becoming a thing. Like, I feel like that's where we are now, where it's like the amount that these companies are willing to pay us isn't really worth in the long run, the ownership of all of this stuff that's gonna be around for fucking ever, essentially.
Hmm. Yeah, but then that's really like this tension that I feel where it's like to do to for me to realistically do bigger projects, it's through a studio
Yeah.
and then I don't have ownership over the product,
hmm
or it's something manageable and self-produced or collaborative, and then there's shared ownership, and I want I want these to come together,
Yeah.
and just like get because that's the wonderful thing about porn is that it's infinitely reproducible. Once you have
hmm
this video, you can sell it as many times as you want,
For
and
sure.
they're selling it to the entire internet, which is the entire world. So you have kind of a, the largest market imaginable. So I think that this like um mentality of like scarcity mentality
hmm
really isn't necessary, and that's the beautiful thing about like collaboration is that actually you can both just own it and sell it, and everyone benefits from that.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I think
yeah.
another really important thing with this is also like when you are producing, like really have sustainability, where it's like I'm not putting $10,000 into most projects, but if I'm putting more money into it, being like, I'm gonna get this money back, whether it's in 6 months even or a year, like really trying to keep your overhead low. So I feel like a lot of
Mm,
people come in and they just start throwing money at stuff and then be like, oh, self-production doesn't work. I feel like
mm,
it's about making it sustainable as well. Where if you
mm-hmm,
are co-producing, it's like, okay, I'm gonna fundraise this much, my co-star is gonna fundraise this much, and then, really realizing how you can make it work where it's not this gigantic investment where, there's some studios who spend $50,000 on a movie and then are they ever really making it back? Like I've seen a lot of companies do one or two movies and then just kind of disappear.
yeah. I mean, I feel like that like business plan is something not of the contemporary world.
Yeah, right?
Like if everyone can make porn with just their phones, then why do you think that a $50,000 movie is gonna, sell that much better? Like
And it's
in the end, it's so much more about marketing and like fame
yeah,
than
it
anything
is.
else,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I think we got into some really interesting topics about ownership and all this stuff within ethical porn because I feel like, particularly us both having, being part of like the whole European festival scene and all that stuff, I think there is so much like the studios are all viewed as like ethical and I feel like they're not questioned that much. So I think us even just having the conversation about ownership and kind of the deeper meaning of who's profiting off of sex workers' bodies and stuff, I think's a really
Hmm.
important conversation that I don't think has come up on this podcast so far.
Mm. Yeah. I I just don't like how it feels
Yeah,
to
I
like see
definitely feel
my
that
image go on and not have any like agency over it anymore.
for sure.
And it just doesn't seem right to me. And like also because like in other industries, they also struggle with it, but there's at least frameworks for having royalties, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or like buyouts if you're a model. It's like you'll have a contract that they can use your image for a certain number of years or for a certain campaign, and then it's over. Or if they want to use
Mm-hmm.
it again, then they pay you more money. And like I think that could also be something in porn
Mm-hmm.
that it would be like yeah, actually implementable. Um or just, like streaming, like now most porn is being shown on streaming sites, so then you
Mm-hmm.
could also just like get a percentage of what is made from the views. Like there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of ways that royalties could be implemented, but it would just require that companies, give up some profits. And I feel like that's never going to happen because companies are, profit motivated unless like I don't know, unless like performers really stand up and um make a point of this. And I don't hear it being talked about that much, which does confuse me a little bit because I'm like, this is so unfair. Like we should be benefiting from our image being watched like for the rest of our lives. Like that's what makes
For
sense.
sure. Yeah. And I think I mean, these conversations weren't happening 10 years ago, really. So I think that they're happening now. I
Yeah,
think it's moving in the right direction. I think, I don't, are we about the same age? I'm not sure.
I'm 28, so
Oh,
a little
okay.
younger.
Oh, wow, you're a baby. Oh.
Oh.
Like anyone I meet in my 20 in their 20s, I'm like, "Oh." But like that's what the future is going to be in this industry because like in 10 years, the people who are going to be in their upper 30s and 40s are now the people who are now talking about all this. So,
Totally.
yeah. I'm also just like overly optimistic about the future of porn. I feel like everyone who's been producing stuff for the last 10 years, I feel like they all now have all these kind of like knowing what's right and what's wrong in this industry and like
Mm.
experience from it. And I really hope that, in another few years, those people are gonna be in positions of power and it's slowly going to be more and more inclusive and, really the ownership talk of who actually owns this stuff and who should be profiting off of it long term starts to like change a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, I think also just this change towards self-production makes a huge difference
For
because
sure.
as performers, we have a bargaining power
Hmm.
because like, yeah, if you if you are making good money off of your OnlyFans or off of your self-produced content, then you don't have to work for studios anymore. And then the conditions of the studios have to be better in order to like get people to work for them. I mean,
Exactly.
it's going in that direction, like still
Hypothetically,
far
yeah.
from that, but I can see it. Yeah, I can see it going more like that. And that gives me a lot of hope as well, because I'm like, the more bargaining power that performers have, the better, of course, you know?
Totally. So I have a few final questions for you. I've had such a great time talking about all things porn with you and like really diving deep into like the ethics behind it and like the ownership and all this. Like it was honestly such a
Yeah.
continuation of my conversation with it was yeah, Hunter, me, Jiz, and another performer, and we were all literally talking about all of this so that it naturally was the progression of it. It's really amazing.
Awesome.
Um so you've been in this industry for a minute now. As I said, you're a veteran now, even though you probably didn't realize that.
Help
Um,
me.
yeah. What do you still want to accomplish in your career that you haven't so far?
Hmm. I think, well, this sounds a bit like mundane, maybe.
Okay, it's okay.
But I have been like thinking of ideas for safe for work content for the
Hmm.
last fucking 5 years, and I've never actually done it because I'm just like, I don't know, so many reasons. Um, and I am really like, my aim for this year is to finally like start working on these ideas, and it's just like, yeah, videos and um short form and more
Hmm.
long form stuff that I want to make that is actually like expressing more of my interests and like my ideas about the industry.
Yeah.
Um, and I find it like I said before, like it's often feels more vulnerable to share like my real interests and
Mm-hmm.
real like personality rather than having sex. And I think that this is kind of my new challenge is to try to do that more because it does give me energy to do that, but it always needs to be in balance like with keeping good boundaries between work and life, you know? So I feel like
Yeah.
it's this really like kind of tricky balance to find where it does feel good to share, you know, some authenticity,
Mm-hmm.
but not so much that it feels like overly vulnerable.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping to like, yeah, go more in this direction while like taking it slow and feeling it out and not like forcing myself to bear all to the internet
Yeah.
emotionally, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But still like um kind of make it more because in the past I've had like because I've been studying and I've been doing a lot of other things on the
Mm-hmm.
side of my porn work. And so I feel like I've had this very clear line of like, okay, I do my porn. It's really interesting and fun for me, but it's not really like my my work as in like what I'm doing. Um I'm not doing it. I'm doing it as a job more than other things, I guess we
Mm-hmm.
can say. And I feel like now I do have this desire to like push it together and um, just bring more of my ideas and passion into it. And
Mm, that
I
totally
don't know
makes
what
sense.
what it's gonna look like, but that is the aim. So let's see what happens.
That's amazing. I feel like that's such a thing though, like you have to keep some sort of semblance of your normal life, or
Mm-hmm.
it's like so easy to burn out because it can just become your everything, like everything can
Mm-hmm.
revolve around your job and whether you're in this or you're making movies or film or whatever else, music, like I feel like when you're in a creative field, it can really like take over your life in sometimes
Mm-hmm.
not a good way.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. So I feel like I've been very like apprehensive of that.
Hmm.
And now I'm like, okay, but now like let's do a little more.
Okay. I think that's a very healthy way to view it. Where you're just like, I'm gonna open a little bit, but like not everything. Because I think
Totally.
you have to have some things for yourself. So I only have one kind of BuzzFeedy question.
Okay, let's go.
So let's say you could magically change one thing in porn. You wake up tomorrow, totally different. What would you have it be?
Well, we already talked about it, but royalties.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure like what I wish I could magically change for everyone working in this
Mm-hmm.
industry because there's so much profit to be made and there's so much potential and I wish that it was shared between all of the people that are creating it. And I think that it's
Mm-hmm.
possible and that we should fight for that to be the case.
Hell yeah. Totally love that. That's such a good place to leave this. Where can everyone find you on social media? What websites can they find you on?
So on Instagram, I'm Serafina.sky and Twitter, I'm Sky Serafina. I'm super not active on social media at the moment, but maybe that's gonna change. Let's see. I'm most active on OnlyFans, which is Serafina Sky.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I had such a great time chatting with you. And yeah, please check Serafina out on all those apps. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great day.
Thank you so much for having me,
All right.
Chelsea.
Bye, everyone.